Yun na ba nga goran? Goring. Ngayo bokol bama, pagoja, jejenji. Yungo bolba, bunganji. Yungo bolba, gaya bara, ninangala. Ngapi bama, gongai, walabori bolba, mugo janang. Unyami, gongari. Gopo para, naga. Mana golo-golo, ngara. Ingin ngara, goa. Yungo bolba, ngaji jabu. Nyuno babando garan. Nyenan, jili wawal. Nyanga jen. Benan goreng. Ngapi walabori, nyanga jen. Ngapi bama, bori goman.
Yarrabah is a bit of a unique setting in that it's a pre-prep actually to Year 10 school. We've got 3 separate campuses spread over the community, about 4 kilometres apart. So our primary school has an enrolment of about 320 kids. It's based on the beach at Mission Bay, beautiful location. Our pre-prep, which has 57 enrolments, is just across the road, and our high school is 4 k's up the road, and it's years 7 to 10. I mean, I've been fortunate to have spent a lot of time in the school and see different leaders come through and see the work that they've done. So I've been very fortunate to, to not only be part of that, but just to see the journey the school has had over that course of time. And a few years ago, we came up with attendance, behaviour and curriculum being our 3 explicit improvement agenda areas. And just the last 12 to 18 months, we've put employment and training at the heart of that, so that all of our conversations related to behaviour, related to curriculum, related to attendance are all focused on employment and training at the end as the end product and a pathway for kids out of school, a job or a training opportunity.
I'm here at Yarrabah School today, and the learning that I've seen going on in the prep classrooms and some of the early years classrooms is electrifying. And this is all we've ever asked for as Aboriginal people all along, a good quality school with good quality teachers and good quality leadership.
The school is usually the centre of any community, but never is that more important than a community like Yarrabah. What we see at Yarrabah is a school that is the heart, with the driving force of that school being the principal, a very important role. It's critical, in fact, because if you don't have strong leadership, the town and the community doesn't have strong leadership. I think, my perspective, there is a very strong link to how well a school is performing as to how well a community is going overall. And that is not just for today, it's obviously for the future as well.
You have to find a way to build a strong relationship with the community, with the parents, with the students. So that's been informing my work, is this reality that the school can't do it alone and the community can't do it alone.
So we do encourage our teachers to get to know families. Often teachers will go home and do home visits. Phone numbers are often either disconnected or a lot of people won't have phones, so teachers often will go with their teacher aide or their education assistant, do a home visit just to meet the families and show them that they want the kids at school. Attendance is a big issue for us, and there's a lot of factors out of our control, but as the education service provider, we've got to take ownership of it as well. And we have an attendance team that focus on a range of strategies. We look at universal practices for all of our teachers and all of our classrooms. So, the behaviours of everybody, welcoming kids to school, every student succeeding, making kids feel welcome. It's a fun place to work. People are positive. There's laughter around the school, and people have nice relationships. I find teachers that are successful in building really strong relationships are those that immerse themselves in the community. They go to local events, they watch the footy, they go to big days, celebrations, and they make the most of the experience here. We're within driving distance from Cairns, so a number of our staff commute from Cairns, so and some will carpool. However, there's accommodation in the community. We've got 6 duplexes and about 5 houses. And they're always full with staff. But fortunately, there's a couple of options for teachers that come So we've got a really strong curriculum team. We've got a deputy principal that heads that team, Deputy Educational Services, and we've got 3 head of curriculum positions that also sit under there. We've got an IEALD coach that works around English as an additional language. In the early years, across the school actually, explicit teaching is the way we deliver new content. In the early years we're working on investigations and investigative play. We're working with some schools in Melbourne and modelling what they're doing down there. That's going really well. Reading is a big focus across the school, and we use the Big 6 as our underlying framework. At the high school, we focus again on explicit teaching, but also looking at pathways for students, whether they're transitioning into employment or transitioning to senior schooling.
So our explicit teaching framework for Yarrabah State School essentially follows the Far North Queensland model that was rolled out about 5 or 6 years ago. And teachers work within the general principles of opening a lesson, an I do, a we do, a you do, and a closing of the lesson. Within that model, teachers are asked to ensure that they have a learning intention success criteria for each one of these lessons, that is visible to the students and talked through with the students. Within the I do part of the explicit teaching framework, this is, I often explain it to teachers as this is your time to shine. This is when all eyes are on you, all ears are on you, and you're stepping the students through a process that you use as an effective, efficient learner to solve a problem or to complete a series of steps. Then we would move into the we do part of the explicit teaching model, which is by far the most important part for the students and the time that you'd be expecting the majority of the lesson to sit within. And this is where the students and the teachers are working together to follow a series of steps or to solve a problem or to complete a process. We encourage the graduated release of responsibility here. So that's why multiple examples with the students are really important. So the teacher might start with the first example and the students might just be copying, for example. But as you work through more and more samples with the students, you're expecting them to be contributing more and taking ownership and responsibility for determining where they go, until finally the students are ready to go off and do some on their own, which is what we refer to as the you do. And this is just consolidating practice for the students. The final step, of course, is the closing of a lesson, where we would ask teachers to be recapping with their students what has been learned, revise the learning intention, determine the level of success, and then forefronting into the next lesson.
So we employ a significant number of teacher aides, or we call them education assistants, above our allocation. We do that because we see them as a crucial part of learning in this community and engaging with the community, but also they're a crucial part of the teacher building a relationship with the students, because they're the key to knowing what's going on in the community, what might be affecting that student's behaviour, what might be affecting that student emotionally, and also what family connections they might have, who they might or might not get along with, and for what reason. So they're a crucial part of our classrooms and our school, and we call them education assistants because we value them more than a teacher aide.
The reason behind collaboration is really behind a report authored by the Grattan Institute called Making Time for Great Teaching. And in this report, it spoke in depth about the value of cohorts of teachers working together with a focus on teaching and learning. So the way that it works at Yarrabah is that weekly, teachers are released as a group cohort. They're provided extra non-contact time to do this, and they come and work with me in my office on issues that are directly related to the teaching and learning that's going on within their classroom. At Yarrabah, we have a general school philosophy about capability before accountability, so that we believe very strongly in growing the teacher from where they are, building their capacity to not only deliver the curriculum, but be more informed generally about issues that affect our profession. So the things that we might discuss in collaboration are the non-negotiables, data discussions. So, looking at our data tables, looking at one school, our A2E, our reading data, and having discussions about what's happening for individual students or groups of students within our classroom. We talk about the assessment outcomes that are expected for the term. We pull apart the summative assessments. We do professional development profiles during collaboration, and then there's the negotiated weeks where cohorts of teachers might decide that they really need a little bit more PD or discussion around consolidations, for instance, which was a big focus for us this year. So it's really developed into a time where teachers look forward to and value that time, where they can have 1 hour a week where the focus is on them and building their capacity.
Our kids come to Yarrabah State School not speaking standard Australian English as they do in schools out in town or back in Brisbane. They come to us speaking Yarri lingo. So during our student free days, we normally have a session with Bernadine Yateman, who runs through the differences between standard Australian English and Yarri lingo, and getting you to really pick up that, oh, hang on, it's different and I don't understand that, and showing you the different ways of explaining that to kids.
Because you're in an Indigenous community and there are certain protocols that need to be followed, and as a worker in the school, we can, let our teachers know that, there are certain things that happen and that culturally that our teachers need to know, and concerning the students and their families, so that it makes it a more easier process and more to make that connection, for them to make that connection with our students.
So our school's got an explicit improvement agenda. Here it's ABC, A attendance, B behaviour and C curriculum. Under that model, we have a school-wide positive behaviour support team or framework, or a PBL is the current terminology for that type of framework. So our school is an SWPBS school. We have been for about since 2008. Kids behave for a reason. It's always, there's either they're trying to gain something or they're trying to avoid something. And by knowing the community and knowing the people you work with and knowing the family backgrounds of the kids you're working with goes a long way for you to actually build a relationship with that student and to work out what's going on and what's creating that behaviour. I expect teachers coming to the school to be dedicated, to be resilient, to be hardworking, to be flexible, positive, enthusiastic. We'll guarantee that you'll leave this school after your 3 or 4 or maybe longer years as a much better teacher. We have schools down south, principals down south that actually ring me and ask if there's any teachers from our school that are transferring. Every year that happens. You will leave Yarrabah with an experience that you'll take for the rest of your life, that you won't regret. You'll have lifelong friends. You'll have made a significant difference to kids that need it, and you'll see a real value in your job as a teacher.
You know, these kids are just like any other kids in any other school. You know, they present challenges, they excel, you know, when you push them hard. For me personally, it all comes down to the quality of the teacher. You got a good teacher, you can get kids to do anything.